Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to explore a world where your clothes can sense your surroundings, react to changes, and even generate electricity?
Sounds pretty sci-fi to me.
It does, right. But that's exactly what we're diving into today. Intelligent textiles. And trust me, whether you're prepping for a big meeting or just a curious mind, this deep dive will completely change how you view your wardrobe. We've got some fascinating research articles and reports covering everything from the basic science behind these interactive fabrics to some seriously mind-boggling real-world applications. And to help us weave through all the technical details and the big picture implications, we've got an expert with us.
Happy to be here, ready to untangle those threads.
Love it. So I'm already picturing color-changing fabrics and clothes that can charge your phone. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the basics. What are intelligent textiles?
Okay, so basically they're fabrics that go beyond just looking good. They can sense and react to the world around them. Think of it like a fusion of traditional textiles with sensors, actuators, even microprocessors.
Giving clothes a brain, basically.
You got it. And just like there are different kinds of brains, there are different types of intelligent textiles. Our sources highlight three main categories: passive, active, and ultra-smart.
Okay, let's break those down. Passive intelligent textiles. Those sound pretty chill.
They are. Passive textiles are like the first generation, mostly acting as sensors. So they can detect changes in the environment like temperature or pressure, but they don't really have the ability to react.
Gotcha. Sensing but not responding. What are some examples?
Think bulletproof vests that absorb impact, or those UV protective swimsuits keeping you from getting sunburned. All about protection, essentially.
Makes sense. Okay, so what about active textiles? Where do those come in?
Active textiles, they take it a step further. They can sense changes and respond to them.
Now things are getting interesting.
Right. This is where you get things like moisture-wicking workout gear that keeps you dry, or shape memory fabrics that can, transform their shape based on temperature.
Like a chameleon fabric I read about that changes color with temperature. That would be crazy to see.
Exactly. So many cool applications.
So are these active textiles the ones with the microprocessors then?
Not quite. Active textiles are using actuators to respond to that stimuli, but they don't have the complex processing power that you see in ultra-smart textiles.
Ultra smart. Okay. So we're talking wearables that can almost think for themselves then. Monitor your health, adjust to your body's needs, maybe even communicate with other devices.
You're getting it. It's like taking those active responses and adding a whole other layer of intelligence.
So cool. But how does all this actually work? How do you get from a simple piece of fabric to something that can sense and respond?
Well, you got to start with the materials themselves, right? Some natural fibers, like cotton and silk, already have properties like breathability and moisture absorption, which are perfect for certain uses.
Yeah, cotton's comfy, but I can't imagine it's conducting electricity or anything like that.
Right. For the smart part, we need to bring in those conductive materials. And this is where things get really innovative. Researchers are looking into everything, from metallic threads and silver nanoparticles to even carbon nanotubes and graphene. These materials can be woven, knitted, even printed onto fabrics to create circuits and sensors.
Wow, so you can actually create circuits within the fabric itself. That's wild. But wouldn't those be stiff and uncomfortable to wear?
That's one of the biggest challenges with intelligent textiles, for sure. It's not enough for them to just work. They have to be wearable and feel good. That's why researchers are focusing on making flexible and stretchable conductive materials.
And don't forget washable. Nobody wants a smart shirt that dies after one trip through the laundry.
Absolutely. Durability is key.
So how do they make these things? Do they weave tiny little computers into the fabric?
It's not quite that simple, but the processes are pretty cool. One common way is to weave conductive threads into the fabric, creating circuits within the material itself.
I'm picturing these old school looms being used to create high-tech gadgets. It's like a blend of ancient craft and cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, it's a really interesting blend of old and new. And we're not just talking weaving either. There are techniques like electrospinning, which creates these superfine fibers that can be used to make piezoelectric materials.
Wait, piezoelectric, refresh my memory on that one.
So piezoelectricity is this really cool thing where certain materials generate an electrical charge when you apply mechanical stress to them. So imagine every time you move, your clothes could be making tiny bits of electricity.
Whoa, now that's what I call sustainable fashion.
Right. Harvesting energy from movement.
I also read that they can print circuits directly onto fabric using conductive inks. Is that right?
Yes. Printed electronics are a growing field with huge potential for intelligent textiles. It opens up a whole bunch of possibilities for putting sensors, displays, even energy harvesting parts right into the fabric itself.
So we've got conductive threads, piezoelectric fibers, printed circuits. It's like a whole toolbox for building these smart fabrics. What about the actual sensors and actuators? How do they fit into all of this?
Think of sensors as the nervous system of the fabric. They're designed to pick up on changes in the environment or even in the wearer's body. You've got sensors that can measure things like temperature, pressure, humidity, heart rate, muscle activity, you name it.
Okay, sensors gather the info. What do the actuators do with it?
Actuators are the muscles, the things that let the fabric actually respond to that information the sensors pick up. So they can do things like change the fabric shape, its color, or even its temperature.
So sensors are the brains, actuators are the brawn.
You got it. It's that teamwork that makes intelligent textiles so incredibly versatile.
That makes sense. I was reading about e-textile sensors for stroke rehabilitation. Is that an example of how they work together?
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Those sensors, woven right into the fabric, can deliver targeted electrical stimulation to muscles that have been affected by a stroke. Helps re-educate those muscles and improve motor function. The amazing thing is, you can put these sensors right into clothing, so rehab is way more comfortable and accessible for patients.
That's incredible. It's so cool to see how intelligent textiles are being used to improve people's lives in such practical ways. But is there a downside? It all sounds a little too good to be true, honestly.
Well, like any new tech, intelligent textiles do have some challenges.
Lay it on me. I'm ready for the hard truths.
One of the biggest hurdles is durability and washability. I mean, imagine tossing your smart shirt in the washing machine and having all the electronics fry. Researchers are working on things like robust encapsulation techniques and waterproof materials, but it's definitely a work in progress.
I can see that being a big problem, and I bet the cost of all this is pretty high. I doubt everyone can afford a closet full of clothes that double as computers.
Yeah, cost is a major barrier to entry right now. Those conductive threads, flexible sensors, all that stuff. It's expensive. Finding more affordable options and streamlining the manufacturing process, those are key steps toward making this technology available for everyone.
Sounds like there are still some wrinkles to iron out, pun intended, but the potential benefits seem worth the effort. Speaking of benefits, let's move beyond the technical stuff and talk about the real-world applications. Where are we seeing this technology make the biggest splash?
One area where intelligent textiles are already making a big impact is healthcare. We've talked a bit about stroke rehab, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Okay, I'm ready to explore that iceberg. What else is out there?
Think wearable sensors that constantly monitor your vital signs, giving you a heads up about potential health issues before you even notice any symptoms. Shirts that can spot early signs of a heart attack, socks that track blood sugar for people with diabetes. The possibilities are huge.
That's straight out of a sci-fi movie. How reliable are these sensors, though? I wouldn't want to be rushing to the ER every time my shirt thinks my heart rate is up a little.
That's a totally fair point. Accuracy and reliability are super important, of course. Researchers are working hard to make sure these wearable sensors are as accurate as traditional medical devices.
So, catching those health problems early on, potentially preventing bigger problems down the road. That's amazing, especially for people with chronic conditions. But healthcare isn't the only area where intelligent textiles are changing things, right?
Nope, not at all. Adaptive clothing is another fascinating area. Think clothes that can adjust to temperature changes, keeping you warm when it's cold and cool when it's hot.
Yeah, I've seen jackets with those built-in heating elements. Cool stuff. But is adaptive clothing more sophisticated than that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Imagine fabrics that can regulate their own temperature, dynamically responding to changes in your body heat and the environment around you.
No more bulky layers or sweating through your clothes. Sign me up.
Right. And it's not just about temperature. Adaptive clothing can also offer support and assistance for people with disabilities. Exoskeletons woven into clothing to help people with mobility issues, garments that give sensory feedback for folks with sensory processing disorders. There's so much potential here.
Incredible. It sounds like intelligent textiles have the power to not only make our lives more comfortable, but also make the world more inclusive and accessible for everyone.
Exactly. And don't forget about the uses in sports and fitness. Imagine workout gear that tracks your performance, gives you feedback on your form, and even adjusts its properties to make your workout better.
It's like having a personal trainer built into your clothes. Athletes would go crazy for that.
Totally. And it's not just about boosting performance either, but also about preventing injuries. For instance, smart insoles that analyze your gait and warn you about potential imbalances that could lead to injuries down the line.
Okay, I'm convinced. Intelligent textiles are about to change everything. But all this fancy tech, what about the environmental impact? Are these smart fabrics sustainable?
That's the big question, isn't it? And honestly, the answer is complicated.
All right, let's unpack that complexity. What are the key things to think about when it comes to the sustainability of intelligent textiles?
Well, one concern is the use of synthetic materials, many of which are, like, derived from fossil fuels and don't biodegrade. But there's a big push towards using recycled and bio-based materials in intelligent textiles.
So, clothes from recycled plastic bottles or plant-based fibers. I like the sound of that.
Exactly. And they're also trying to make these textiles more durable so they last longer, which means less waste in the long run. Then there's the whole energy consumption issue.
Right. All those sensors and actuators need power.
They do. But that's where energy harvesting comes in. We talk about piezoelectric materials making electricity from movement, but there's also solar-powered fabrics and even fabrics that can harvest energy from body heat.
Clothes that power themselves. That's some next-level eco-friendly stuff right there.
Right. The innovations just keep coming. And as the tech keeps evolving, I think we're going to see even more creative ways to make intelligent textiles more environmentally friendly.
Now that we've got the basics down, how they're made, their potential impact, I'm ready to dive into the really exciting stuff.
I hear you. The possibilities with this tech are endless.
Exactly. So let's go beyond the present and talk about the future of intelligent textiles. What innovations are coming next? What challenges still need to be solved? And what does it all mean for the future of fashion, healthcare, and, well, pretty much everything?
Let's get into it. The possibilities are pretty much endless, yeah.
So we've established that intelligent textiles are, like, super cool, but I'm ready for the really futuristic stuff. What's on the horizon for this tech?
Well, one area that's getting a lot of attention is the whole AI integration thing. Imagine clothes that can not only react to how you're doing right now, but also predict what you'll need later.
Hold up. Clothes that can read my mind. Even for me, that's a bit creepy.
Not mind reading exactly, but
Yeah.
definitely a much more personalized and proactive kind of experience. Think of like a jacket that adjusts its insulation based on the weather forecast, or workout gear that adapts to your effort level and gives you real-time coaching tips.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. So the AI is taking data from the sensors and making predictions about what you'll need, right? But where's all that data processing happening? Is it in the cloud, or is there like a mini computer in the clothes themselves?
Good question. The answer is it depends.
Hmm.
For some applications, that data might go to the cloud for processing, while others might use tiny microprocessors embedded right in the fabric. As tech gets better and these microprocessors become more powerful and energy efficient, I think we'll see more and more processing happening right on the garment itself.
Clothes that can think for themselves, that's both amazing and a bit scary, to be honest. What about the ethical side of things? I mean, who has access to all that data about our bodies and what we're doing?
You're right to bring that up. Data privacy and security are huge issues when you're talking about intelligent textiles. Like any tech that collects personal info, there are risks. But there are also opportunities to use that data for good, to make people's lives better and create a more sustainable and fair world.
Okay, I'm all for using tech to improve the world, but I think we need to be really careful about how we collect and use that data. Don't want to end up in some dystopian future where our clothes are spying on us.
I totally agree. Transparency and user control are crucial. People need to know what data is being collected, how it's used, and who has access to it. And they need to be able to say no if they don't want their data collected.
All right, enough of the serious stuff. Back to the cool stuff. What other mind-blowing innovations are coming down the pipeline for intelligent textiles? Hit me with it.
Well, self-healing textiles are a big one. They're generating a lot of excitement. Imagine a little tear in your shirt just repairing itself automatically. You'd get way more use out of your clothes, and there'd be less textile waste.
Wait, clothes that magically fix themselves? How does that even work?
It's not magic, but it's pretty close. Researchers are making fabrics with microcapsules full of healing agents. When there's a tear, those capsules break open and release the agent, which then bonds those torn fibers back together.
It's like a built-in first aid kit for your clothes. That's wild. But what about bigger rips or more serious damage? Can self-healing fabrics really handle that?
It's still early days for the tech, but researchers are making a lot of progress. And it's not just about fixing tears. Imagine fabrics that repel stains, resist wrinkles, and even change their color or pattern whenever you want. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, you officially blew my mind. But let's zoom out a bit and think about the bigger picture. How do you see this tech changing how we live, work, and interact with the world around us?
I think we're barely scratching the surface of what's possible. Intelligent textiles could revolutionize tons of things, from healthcare and fashion to architecture and transportation. Think buildings that can manage their own temperature, cars that can sense and react to road conditions, even bridges that monitor their own structural integrity.
Whoa, we're talking about smart cities built with intelligent textiles. That's a seriously wild vision of the future. But what about the challenges? It sounds like there's still a ton of research and development needed before those futuristic ideas become reality, right?
You're right, there are definitely some hurdles to overcome. One of the biggest ones is figuring out how to combine all these different technologies smoothly and reliably. And if we want intelligent textiles to become mainstream, we got to make them affordable and easy to reduce at scale.
Right. We don't want to solve one problem and create a bunch of new ones in the process. And we can't forget about those ethical questions we talked about. As this tech gets more advanced and becomes a bigger part of our lives, we've got to make sure it's being developed and used in a responsible way.
Absolutely. We need to be having open and honest discussions about the potential risks and benefits of intelligent textiles, and we have to work together to create a future where this tech truly serves humanity and the planet.
Well said. So now that we've covered the basics of intelligent textiles, how they're made, how they're being used, and their potential impact, I'm really eager to dig into some of the most mind-blowing aspects of this field.
Oh, I know what you mean. The potential of this tech is just incredible.
Exactly. Let's move beyond the here and now and talk about the future of intelligent textiles. What's coming next? What are the big challenges that we still need to solve? And what will this all mean for fashion, healthcare, and pretty much every other aspect of our lives?
Let's jump right in.
We've talked about all these amazing advancements in intelligent textiles, self-healing fabrics, AI-powered clothing that anticipates our needs. It's mind-blowing.
It really is. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
But now I want to turn the tables a bit.
Oh, intrigued.
If you could have any intelligent textile in your life right now, what would it be? What problem would it solve? Or what part of your life would it, like, supercharge?
That's a tough one, honestly.
Yeah.
So many cool options. But if I had to pick just one, I think I'd go for something that could monitor my health really well and give me personalized feedback, like something that could tell me if I'm getting stressed or maybe even getting sick before I even realize it, or help me get better sleep.
That's a great choice. Like having a personal health coach built right into your clothes. I think I'd be tempted by something a little more adventurous. Maybe like a jacket that could handle any kind of weather.
Oh, that would be amazing. No more lugging around a heavy coat in winter or getting caught in the rain without an umbrella.
Right. I think it comes down to wanting to feel comfortable and confident no matter what? And having the right clothing can definitely play a part in that.
It's funny how clothing can be so much more than just protection or decoration. Intelligent textiles really blur those lines, between function, fashion, and personal expression.
They do.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this whole field so exciting. It's not just about like making fancy gadgets. It's about making our lives better, more interesting, full of possibilities.
Totally. And it makes you wonder, what's next? Maybe clothes that can talk to each other, create a whole network of connected garments.
Ooh, or clothes that react to your emotions, changing color or texture to match how you're feeling.
We're limited only by our imaginations at this point.
Exactly. And that's the message I want our listeners to take away from this deep dive. Don't just accept things as they are. Ask questions, be curious, think big. You never know, maybe you'll be the one to invent the next groundbreaking intelligent textile.
The future is waiting to be woven.
This has been The Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well informed.